Hello. I think I'm live. All right. Hi everyone, it's Monika Davis. I am a Stampin' Up demonstrator in Georgia. Today is Monday, March the 24th, and we are into springtime here in Georgia. Everything's turning green, things are starting to bloom. Today's a little bit of a rainy day, and I think the allergies are acting up because the pollen's coming out. Hi Margie, hello. And if you come back later and you're watching this on the replay, hi to you as well. I've got 6 cards for you today. They're actually pairs of cards, and I just realized, let me grab my trimmer. Need my trimmer. I just want to be able to show you something on the trimmer. So we're using a bundle today called Pattern of Friendship. And we're using this mixed media florals paper pack. Let me see if I can. 1, 2, 3. Nope. See if I can find all the patterns. Here we go. You know, I thought I was more prepared than I was. This is a paper pack called Mixed Media Florals, and I've been seeing, it's got also like a stamp set and die bundle, and other coordinating products. I've seen some just beautiful things with this suite. We are just using the paper, and I'm using 3 of the designs, and so we're using this one, we're using the front, that's the back. We're going to use this one, that's the front, and that's the back, and we're using this guy, front, that's the back, and then there's 3 more designs. This one, and then this one, and then this guy, and that's the back. So we used the first 3. I didn't use these on these cards, but those are all, this one, I really like this one. But it's not what I used for this group of cards. This was my card class last week. This bundle includes the stamp set and the die, and the die is kind of a unique die. It's just one large die, and what it does is it actually just puts these little tiny lines of dots into the paper. And let me see if I have a piece. So here is this piece. So it's got like a row of 1, and then a row of 4, and 1, 4, 1. And it's big enough that you could do an entire card front if you wanted to. So it just kind of, it's not an embossed background, but it's kind of similar to that. Now, I usually use the side where it's smooth. If you wanted to, you could use this side where it's the bottom, where all the little holes have been poked, but you definitely wouldn't want to sit there and poke all those holes yourself. If you cut a whole bunch of these, because it is cutting out all these little tiny holes, it makes a lot of dust. So just be prepared for that. It's kind of like you end up with a lot of dust. So anyway, that is the die. The whole die is, let's see, it is 5 3/4 by 5 3/4 square is the size of that die. So it's a single die. We had something similar to that a few years back, and I really like that. Then the stamp set is just a bunch of words. There's no images, but there's some nice words that we don't, I know we have happy birthday in other places, but we don't really have, like, thinking of you brings a smile to my face. Let's keep in touch. You bring so much joy and laughter to my life. Friends are the family you choose for yourself. And then you've got this, thanks for being the best, bestie. So you've got some options and some different fonts to put together. So what I want to show you, oh good, hi Tammy, hello, hello. All right, so the cards I'm going to show you, they kind of are in pairs because of the way I cut the pieces that go on the front. So that's kind of what I wanted to show you. Let me pull my pieces out. So I've got a card base, whoops. I've got my 2 card bases, and then I've got white layers for the inside. I have black, my basic black layers. I've got the circles for the front. These are my strips that are going to go across, but what I want to show you is how to do this diagonal piece. So what you're going to do is you're going to have, and I've already cut these because I did these for a class last week and I did their cutting for them. But you would have 2 pieces the same size. So my pieces are 5 inches long, 3 3/4 inches wide. This, yes, this bundle is an online exclusive, and this paper is also an online exclusive. That just means that they're in the online store. They're not in one of our catalogs, and they're in a category called online exclusives. But you can also find the bundle under bundles, or the stamp set in the stamps, or the paper in the paper category. So the paper is part of a larger suite. But I'm only using the paper. So what I want to show you is how I cut these diagonals. So I cut first my white piece, and then I went ahead and ran it through with the die to give me those little lines of dots. And then I've got my designer series paper, and these are, they're the same size, right? I gotta line these up. So what I did was I stacked my uncut pieces together. So pretend these are not cut yet. I should have had some that weren't cut, but so pretend these are not cut. You're going to stack these on top of each other, and then you're going to get out your trimmer. And this is the way I cut it. Now you could do your angle however you want it to, but this is the angle that I use. So I put this upper right hand corner on 1 1/2 inch. So between 1 1/2 is this line right here, which I'm going to just kind of pop that up to the top. And then I'm going to take this point, and I want to actually, I'm going to try to keep that up there, and I'm going to shift this down to this 3-inch line, which is this line right here. So you want 3 inches, and you want 1 1/2 inches. or close. It doesn't have to be perfect. You're just creating a diagonal, and you want to cut these at the same time because you want the angle to be the same. So once I've got it lined up, then I'm going to cut it, and then it gives me the two pieces with that angle. And you could adjust your angle. You could make it, you know, be higher up on one end or lower down on the other, however you want to do it. So then I've got two pieces. Then what I'm going to do is I'm going to mix and match these. So I've got a top and a bottom and a top and a bottom. So this is how I ended up with pairs of cards, because when I cut these, it left me enough to do two cards. So we're going to repeat this diagonal cut on the other pairs of cards, but I'm going to show you this pair first. So we've got the front to put together, and then on the inside I just have a piece, 1 inch or 3/4 of an inch, or whatever piece of scraps you have left from cutting these other pieces is what I used. And then I've got my circles with my greetings. In the class, I gave everybody 2 different sized white circles and 2 different sized colored circles, so they could do different greetings on their cards if they chose to. So, all right, let me slide this over, and we're going to put these together. So we are going to build on the black piece, and we're going to add our glue. And we will put, trying to create an equal border around, because this was die cut, and when you peel it off, it does curl the paper just a little bit, so you want to glue it down well and hold it there for a minute. And then we will take this piece, and ideally they match up just perfectly. That would be the idea, because we cut them at the same time, so they should have exactly the same angle. Now, if for some reason they didn't match up, you can cover that angle with a strip. I'm using Mossy Meadow. So if you have any funkiness happening where they meet, we'll just cover that up. And then trim off the extra. So there's one panel. And then we'll do the same thing on this one, just this time the designer series paper is on the bottom. And our die cut piece is on the top. So now we have 2 cards, or 2 card layers. Get everything glued down very well. And trim. Yeah, this gives you kind of a clean line where they meet. All right, then we've got, these are the card bases, and I am going to glue this directly onto the front. You could add dimensionals, but I've got 2 layers of dimensionals on the circles, so I didn't want to add any more. If I were to put this on dimensionals, I'd have 3 layers, which once you start getting too thick, then the post office isn't happy and they want more money. So we're going to do our pairs. Now you could do both of them that way, but we're doing one up and one down. Kind of depends on how directional your design is. This one isn't too directional. The flowers kind of go in all directions. All right, we are going to burnish our score line. All right, there's that. Then we've got our stamping to do. So the way I did these designs, my card base on here was the Boho blue, which is one of the InColors that will be retiring. It's really pretty, so if you want this cardstock or ink, be sure to stock up on the Boho blue now before it's gone. So I went with my colored circles matching my card bases, and I chose my ink to match my little strips. So you'll see as we move on to the other pairs, you'll have the same thing where the colored circle matches the card base and my ink matches my strip. So this one is Mossy Meadow for the ink. And we are going to use, on the smaller one, we're using Thinking of You Brings a Smile to My Face. So that one's going to go on there. And on this larger one, oops, we have this chunky Happy Birthday. That away. Okay, so these I'm actually putting on with dimensionals because I'm going to tuck some little punched branches under there. These circles come from the Stylish Shapes dies, which are kind of a staple item. They have circles and squares and some banners that I use. I use mostly the circles, but I do use the banners as well. I probably use the squares the least. All right, this is called the Bough Punch. It punches out a large leaf and a little flower. We're going to use 2 of those, and then what I did was I'm going to add this onto the card base, and I'm going to put the larger branch so it kind of hangs up over here where the white part is, and the smaller branch will kind of go out here at the bottom. So then on this one, it'll be kind of in the opposite. We'll go kind of like this. Okay, so we're going to glue those into place. A little bit of glue. Tuck that in. And I know you're probably wondering why I didn't glue that down first. I just like to see where they're going to end up in relation to my words, because I feel like if I just glue them down, sometimes I don't get them where I want them. So, and then this is going to go back on here with dimensionals. You could certainly glue those leaves down before you add that top layer. I just didn't. And this will go right there. And then you could slide that larger leaf in more if you don't want to see as much of it. All right, this one will go right about here. And then I will finish, oh, I've got to do the insides. So the inside is just a strip of the matching paper. You could also stamp some of the other words on the inside. I think that's a 1-inch strip, and this one I think is a 3/4 inch strip. Either one works. These will go inside. And the last thing we're going to do is add some bling to the front. And I chose to use the 2023, 2025 InColor. They're opaque shimmer dots. So the sheet looks like this with all the InColors. So these are the retiring InColors. So if you want any of these, these will definitely be on the last chance list. So the last chance list will get updated April 1st. All of the InColor items will be on there because we're getting new InColors. All right, we're gonna add, these are Boho blue. So they do match exactly. If I can get them off my little sheet. I need to get out some more putty. All right, stuck to my finger everywhere except where it's supposed to be. I need a little more putty. Okie doke. All right, there's that one. And this one we're going to do 2 on the bottom and 1 on the top. I did it that way because this has the white space. So there are the first 2 of our pairs of cards. All right, let me move these over, and then we're gonna do our next set. So these are Calypso Coral and Granny Apple Green. So we've done the same thing. I've got my pieces, the paper piece and the die cut piece, and cut them at that same angle. And then they will pair up like that. So we're just going to repeat what we did on here. So you could do this with any designer series paper. Just pick your favorite, get the coordinating colors of cardstock and ink. You could change your angle. You could do this if you don't want to do it with the die piece. This could be an embossed piece. A lot of different things you could do with this design. If you didn't want to cut an angle, you could just cut straight across, either at the lower point or the higher point, or halfway in between. Look at these. For this one, I got Granny Apple Green for my strips and my ink. I'm going to put the glue away, but I'm going to need that in just a second. So I got up early Saturday morning in the dark and drove over to the Chattahoochee Nature Center and did a 5K race. I walked. I did a very small amount of jogging, but I am not a runner. I am a walker, so I mostly walk. I was still the slowest in my group, but that's okay. I finished. I didn't look at my, I gotta look up my time, but I think I might have had a faster time than previous 5Ks, so we'll see what my time was. But I did it. That's what mattered. And then in the afternoon we walked the dogs. Yesterday we walked the dogs for about 2 miles. Part of it was on the trails behind our house. It was just a very pretty day, so we took them on a long walk. I think they were ready to be done once we got back. All right, we've got more words we're going to do. Thanks for being the best bestie. How about that? We'll do that on the bigger one. And where's my other stamp? Here it is. I've been back now from on stage for a week. I still haven't unpacked all my swaps and stuff in my backpack. I have to do that yet. I am getting there. I think this week I'll have some time for unpacking and cleaning. Honestly, I haven't finished unpacking from the crop I did the week before. And I think I don't have everything fully unpacked from my retreat that I did back in February. So I've got some work to do in my craft room. But I will get there. All right, we got another. Thinking of you brings a smile to my face. I like that saying a lot. All right, we need some leaves. Okay, here we go. Let's see if we can get all these together. Maybe we'll do a little one on there. I'll do opposite of what I did the first time. So I'm going to want this on this side, that on that side. All right. We bought some concert tickets the other night. We don't go to a lot of concerts. First of all, I always think they're so expensive, and these were. And I guess because of our lack of experience in buying concert tickets, I don't know. I'm not sure where I've got them from online. I don't know if it's legit or not, so I told Greg, I said, I don't know if we really got tickets or not. But I tried to go back and see if I could get the money back so I could do more research. Greg was so excited that his favorite band was coming into the area, so we quickly bought some tickets. The concert's not till June. I guess I'll let you know in June whether or not we really go. Maybe we do, maybe we don't. It's like where it says that they transfer the tickets for you, and I guess I didn't realize when we were doing it, and we both looked at it, that it was, I guess it's a reselling, like people must buy tickets and then resell them, I suppose. I don't know. We may or may not get to go. But we will worry about that in June. Okay, our inside layers coming up. And then, you know, the first card I had Boho Blue Gems. I don't know, I didn't look very hard for Calypso coral gems, but I didn't really want to use a bunch of different embellishments on this set of cards because it was for a class, so I was trying to stick with one embellishment, but I didn't have one that had all the colors I needed, so I decided that close counts. So I am still using the InColor embellishments, and even though these are not Calypso coral, these are actually the copper clay, I thought they were close enough to match. So we have copper clay for our little sparkle gems here. What do you think? Do you think they're close enough? Close enough match to the Calypso coral? They're not perfect, but I think they will get the job done. They're on this little clear sheet. They're easier to get off when they're on the full-size sheet than when I cut them apart for the class. So, all right, that's set number 2 of our cards in the Calypso coral. And then I've got one more set, the last set I did in Daffodil Delight with a shy shamrock. Those were the greens that it says are in this paper, so that's why I chose those shades of green, because that's what was the colors listed for the paper. All right, and then for these shimmer gems, these are the Wild Wheat gems that we're going to pair up with Daffodil Delight. I think they match really well. So, you know, sometimes you don't need an exact match. We are going to go here and here. This is a really pretty paper. And all the designer series papers from Stampin' Up are all created by the Stampin' Up artists. So you're not going to find these papers anywhere else. They're actually made in-house. Oh, I got a lot of glue on the edge there. Heavy on the glue. Remember, a little goes a long way with this liquid glue. All right, our new InColors are coming out in May. There will be 5 new InColors. So the ones that are going away are that Boho Blue, the Wild Wheat, the Copper Clay, Pebbled Path, and I think it's Moody Mauve. So those are the ones that are retiring, and our process is a little bit different. So while they are going away, they won't get restocked, but they could still hang out in the store for a while until they sell out. But typically what sells out first are the refills for the ink pad, and then the cardstock, and then the ink pads. And then, you know, things like embellishments. And then you've got ribbons and papers. Our last chance list will get updated April 1st. It's probably going to be a larger update, which typically happens because we have both our annual catalog ending and our mini catalog ending. So other things will go to last chance. Some things will just end up being online instead of being featured in a catalog. That will happen as well. So we'll kind of see how that plays out. This will be our first big retirement or last chance with our new process. This is our first big catalog end. So we'll have to see how that goes. Oh, also want to tell you guys, if you're a Paper Pumpkin subscriber, before I forget to tell you this. So when was it? The other week? It was right before I left for the on-stage event. Stampin' Up moved the Paper Pumpkin. So Paper Pumpkin was on its own website called paperpumpkin.com, and it got moved to be on the same website with the rest of our products. So it is now on stampinup.com. So when that happened, you should have gotten an email on March 11th that had some information for you. You can now manage and see your subscription in your regular Stampin' Up account where you order Stampin' Up products. But what you need to do is you have to, what they're calling it, to claim your subscription. You only have to do that one time. It's just for the transfer to make sure that they have your Paper Pumpkin connected to the correct Stampin' Up account. So when you're in your Stampin' Up account, there should be a thing about claiming your Paper Pumpkin subscription, or there's a section called subscriptions. If for some reason you started a new subscription, your other subscription is still going. So what you need to do is claim it and then cancel one of them. I hope that makes sense. If you had a prepaid account, a prepaid subscription, and I'm going to put up a post with some information so that you have it in writing. It might be easier to follow than what I'm saying right now. Your prepaid subscription will have come over. You'll have to claim that as well. And then when it ends, you will either want to get another prepaid subscription, or you can switch to the month-to-month subscription. We're doing Shy Shamrock ink on these. So there's that one. And then another happy birthday. You can also gift subscriptions now. So if you wanted to give a subscription to your mom or your niece or your friend or whomever, you'll be able to do that and manage it from your own account, which was not something we could do in the old system. So that is an improvement. You will have to claim your subscription if you want to buy add-ons, if you want to buy refills, if you want to change your quantity, if you want to skip a month or cancel, you will need to claim your subscription to do any of that, to update your address or credit card or any of that. So if you don't claim your subscription, it will just continue on as is, with nothing changing. So if you want to be able to manage your subscription or do any of those other things, be sure to go through that process of claiming your subscription. I will be trying to go through and see who hasn't done that. That's on my list to do this week. And then I'll try to reach out to those that still need to go through that process. I want to do them this way. I'm going to do it this way. All right. So that might or might not have been clear as mud. But I will try to add a post one day this week in the Facebook group with some information about that. You can also search in your emails. Should have come out on March 11th, the email with the information. I think there's a video on how to manage your subscription once you've claimed it. And then, like I said, that process, that claiming process, you only do that one time. Once you've done it, you won't have to do that again. It's just because of the switch over from one system to another. All right, we are almost done here. Our last little leaf. Of course, you could stamp the greetings on the inside. Some of the larger ones, they wouldn't fit on my circles, so I didn't use the larger ones. Also, this Saturday, I have an in-person scrapbooking class. We're using the Storybook Moments scrapbooking kit. I think I still have room for 1 or 2 people. So if you are interested in coming, reach out to me and I'll let you know if I have a spot for you, or if you can't come in person but you'd like that scrapbooking kit, we can make that happen as well. And I also have some of the Wildflower birthday kits, which was last month's class. I have some of those available. All right, almost done. We are going to use our last few shimmer gems. These are our shimmer dots. Let's see if I can clean up. These are actually the wild wheat dots from the InColors, but I think they look just fine with my Daffodil Delight. There's that one. Oh no, lost my glue. It's stuck here. The whole thing. There we go. Okie doke. our last set. All right, let's pull these out. We've got these two, those two, and those two. Let's see if we can see them all. I think we can. Okay, that is what I've got for you today. If you're interested in the next Designing Damsels kit, I have not yet sent out the email. I am behind on that, but I am going to extend the registration through the first week of April. These will get mailed out at the very end of April. We're also going to change our naming, so this will be called the April kit, not the March kit. It'll have to be mailed out at the end of April, and I will have the details of that in the email when that goes out in the next day or so. So that's coming up. Scrapbook class on Saturday, and be sure to claim your Paper Pumpkin subscription so you can do all the things that you need to do with your subscription. All right, have a great week. I will see you next Monday. Do we have one more Monday? Yes, one more Monday in March. All right, bye everybody.